Hey, Daniela. Just to confirm, you can hear me okay, right? Okay, good. I just want to make sure y'all can hear me. I know Ryan's going to come over and join as well. Um, so we should see him here shortly. do, 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 do. Yeah, if you don't mind, don't forget to send the daily heart me's. That's what puts us out on the algorithm now. All right. All right. So, Sarah, up at the top of the stream up here, there should be like a little heart. It may not, it's like a gold color or something like that. If you touch it, it'll ask you to send a heart me. A daily heart is what they call it. Good job. But yeah, that's what they've started using for the algorithm now is the daily heart me's, and then I don't know why it keeps putting me in the gaming category. Not in gaming. Okay. Yeah. So the daily heart me's, the conversations in the chat, and then the gifts, stuff like that. That's what puts it out on the algorithm. It's no longer about the taps anymore, although they're still good. But you know. All right. So tonight we're going to go over the story of the Canaanite woman, which I thought was actually really interesting because I had to go back and actually read it. Um, it's from Matthew 15:21 through 31. So it says the story begins with Jesus withdrawing to the regions of Tyre and Sidon during his busy time in the ministry. There a woman comes out to him and shouts with anguish, "Lord, Son of David, have mercy on me. My daughter is demon possessed and suffering terribly." The cry of this woman emerges from a deep love and care for her daughter. Her cry is deep. It is a cry laced with faith. The faith of this woman is evident from the beginning as she places her body in a dangerous situation, knowing all of the harmful implications that could occur in this culture. Being a Gentile woman amongst a group of Jewish men, she is crossing a social boundary by speaking up to the group with more cultural power than she has. Initially, she is met with silence. The silence holds within it her hopes, fears, and anxiousness. Filled with emotion and faith, she persists so that the disciples beg Jesus to send her away. Jesus finally addresses the woman, and we are caught off guard as he reinforces the line of exclusion, saying, "I was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel." That's a good question, Melissa. I don't think really anybody is. And I've not been getting notifications for anybody. So I'm not sure. So this part right here, it says Jesus finally addresses the woman, and we are caught off guard as he reinforces the line of exclusion, saying, "I was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel." So when I first read this, and I read this whole thing, I got to thinking, that couldn't have been something Jesus said, because that doesn't sound like Jesus for him to turn down talking to somebody So then it persists, and I did go back and look. So yes, the locks still play a small part into the algorithm, but the algorithm no longer looks at taps the way it used to because of all of the tappers and stuff like that people were getting. Um, so really, taps are no longer of importance since they did this new scale. Um, the new scale is essentially, like I said, the daily heart me's is the most important one now. Um, and then any chats going on in the chat, they want to see activeness, and then any gifts that are given in there. The actual taps just count as a small portion now. So, all right. So I did look, and this was actually accurate, and I was kind of shocked when I first read it. So it says, this woman is blocked in a way anyone whose prayers has gone unanswered might feel blocked. And yet the woman feels the weight of the line and chooses to cross it anyway. She kneels before him and calls him Lord, indicating his lordship over her, even over her. Surely Jesus will answer her wish now. No, his reply is even harsher than before. It is not right to take the children's bread and toss it to the dogs. Jesus appears not only to reinforce the line he drew, but he builds a wall and renders the mother to the likes of a dog. Anyone else would have taken the hint, for the insult must have been felt acutely. Perhaps her breath got shallow, her hands shaking, her forehead full of sweat, but still the woman refuses to be excluded. Even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from the master's table. While filled with the trauma of the experience, the woman refuses to allow silence or separation or being equated to an animal stop her from what she knows she deserves. For this she is rewarded. Jesus replied, "Woman, you have great faith. Your request is granted." The woman's daughter was healed immediately. So, I actually went back in Scripture, like I said, to make sure that I wasn't going to be teaching something that was false. Because, I'll be honest, like, I never actually put this... I've always heard the good stories of Jesus doing everything. Like, people come to him and he would heal them and stuff like that. But I've never heard that Jesus said no. And so I was like, that can't be right. That can't be right. So it was correct. However, not in the context the way I was taking it when I read it. So it was a test of faith. He wanted to see how much faith she had and how far she was willing to go for her daughter to be healed. So in the study Bible, I was looking at the scriptures, and in the verses, it was Matthew 15, 21 through 31. It says, Canaanite woman, it says, the title Lord was probably just an expression of great respect. Her use of the Son of David shows some knowledge of Jewish thoughts about him. And then it says Canaanite here means a non-Jewish person living in that region. The term occurs only here in the New Testament. So, and then in verse 24, it talks about only talking to the people of Israel. It says, later though, the apostles, the message of this gospel is to go to the Gentiles. At the point, the focus is on the Jews and their spiritual need. And then where it talks about dogs, it says, in the Greek word Jesus uses here suggests a more affectionate term for domestic pets. Jesus is not insulting the woman, but testing her faith. So with the Greek word, it actually was. He called her a dog, but it was like an affection. It was an affectionate, like domestic pet type way. And so it said that he was testing her faith, which is exactly why when I was reading it, I was like, seriously, this can't be in the Bible. This can't be. Because it never sounded like anything Jesus would say. And then it says the woman presses Jesus by referring to the extended blessing promised to the Gentiles through Abraham. So she went as far back as Abraham to point out that, like, even he said that they would be blessed even though they weren't part of Israel and the Jews. So I just found that interesting. And then he comes back and says that her faith is what got the daughter healed. So I was absolutely amazed with that. So then it says how we can kind of apply it today. It says the Canaanite woman's narrative displays the important role of agency and persistency in interacting with God. It was ultimately her pushback against a block for the sake of her family that resulted in the healing. How many of us feel we can push back against God? Too often our interactions with God are the opposite, quietly passive and submissive. But this is not the type of partnership God invites us into. The woman's story reminds us all that we have agency with interacting with God. We can go to God in desperation. We can have friction. We can tussle. This is the stuff of real relationships. It may not be effective at first. It may not even feel as if our dignity is being disrespected, or it may even feel as if our dignity is being disrespected, despite our sincerity. But the woman's story shows us that our agency in shaping our relationship with God can lead to healing, even in the face of the door that God initially says is closed. This is ultimately a process that leads to liberation. The story does not tell us why Jesus rejected the woman or why he played into cultural exclusions. Nevertheless, the story shows us that God does not desire our passivity, but instead God leads us into spaces of partnership and to test our faith. The clearest invitation to this kind of relationship between God and God's people is found in the name Israel. In Hebrew, Israel can be translated as wrestles or struggles with God. The Canaanite woman knew that the God of Israel is a God who invites this kind of engagement and participation. Against cultural expectations, she embodied the spirit of God's people as she engaged Jesus in this messy yet beautiful moment. The Canaanite woman exemplifies the reality that we don't achieve healing fully on our own, but we are invited to participate and partner with God in our own healing. As we do participate, we experience a type of liberation that acknowledges we have a voice and agency within our mutual relationship with God. We can trust God will meet us in our breath, in our fight, and in our struggle, even in our struggle with God. So I just thought that was really impressive when I was reading it, that it talks about he told her no. Not once, but twice. She asked for her daughter to be healed, and he told her no. And when like I said, when I first read it, I was like, that does not sound like my Jesus. Does not at all. And I went back and looked in the scripture. Sure enough, he told her no. But it wasn't out of anything other than him testing her faith. And it says that when he tells her that because of her faith, her daughter had been healed instantly. So I just thought it was amazing that she went through that whole process, especially crossing that line, because she was a non-Jewish woman and she was surrounded by Jewish men. And so it was just impressive that she went that far to actually, do that. But that's where we have to put our faith in Jesus. In all things. We have to have our faith in Jesus in all things. And even when God closes the door in the beginning, it doesn't mean it's closed permanently. It could be that He's testing our faith to see how far we were willing to go to get our promise or to our promised land. So, it was, like I said, it was just interesting. And I'm going to move this over here so I can actually see the comments and be looking at the camera as well. So anyway, but yeah, so it's just impressive that he put her through. He put her to the test to see how she would do and test her faith. Good evening. So glad that you have joined. Hey, Benny. Good to see you. Good to see you as well, Melissa. So, for those of you who do not know, I had a meeting with TikTok this evening at 5 o'clock. And I went into the meeting not knowing what was going to happen. Really, I didn't know truly what the meeting was completely about until I went in. So I'll give you a little history. TikTok reached out to me for an interview for a position as a creator network manager. So what that entails is, I guess they have noticed in the trend that TikTok live streams for Christianity has actually been picking up, and they want to kind of expand on that. So what they requested is a Christian creator network. And so what that entails is, with the Christian Creator Network, is it's a collaboration between other content creators. They join this network together. Of course, they have to be, Christians and stuff like that. They apply for this network, and they use that network to kind of help each other, build each other up, follow each other, help each other grow. And then, in that process, they're helping get out the word of God. And so, on the back end, essentially what would happen is, if a content creator says something out of the way, or somebody reports them or whatever, and they get shadow banned or restricted or whatever, they would reach out to me, and then I would actually reach out to TikTok and work to get that removed. Essentially, it's kind of like a TikTok agency, but just for Christian content creators. And so I went into the meeting, and she started asking me questions. She told me that I was referred to them. No idea by who. She didn't tell me. And I was like, okay. She said, so tell me a little bit about you. So I gave her my kind of my little life story. I'm currently a youth pastor, working to become a pastor, starting our own church, And she was like, okay. She was like, well, do you live stream on TikTok? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, well, do you live stream anywhere else? And I said, yeah, I live stream to YouTube and Facebook. And usually that's a big no-no when it comes to actually streaming to TikTok. They kind of frown upon you streaming to other people or mentioning other people. But she was actually impressed. And then I told her that, I have a Discord and I have two Discords. I have a Christian Discord, which has over 10,000 people, and then I have a gaming Discord, which has over 10,000 people. And she was extremely impressed. And so she was like, well, I want to go ahead and proceed and approve your application. So I was like, oh, okay. And she was like, I don't have any other questions for you. She goes, that's all I wanted to know. And she was like, I think you would be a great fit. And so, would this be employment via TikTok directly? So, sorta. It would, but it wouldn't. The money, yeah, like Ashley said, the money that's made from this network would be deposited into the new church account. It would go directly into that and would not be touched except for church expenses and stuff like that. But yes, essentially, kind of a TikTok job, yes. I don't know if I really can because that was proprietary information. So, but what I will say, what I think she's getting at is, so the way it works is with TikTok, if somebody sends you a gift, you essentially, the way the scale works, you get like 50% of that gift. TikTok gets the other 50%. If they are part of a creator network, then the creator network then gets 20% and TikTok takes 30%. So essentially what that would do is, it used to be 80-20. It is now not 80-20, not with the new scale. So, yeah, this new scale is a little weird. You have to be the more popular you are and stuff like that, the more you actually make percentage wise, and it's based on the daily heart me's. It's based on your gifts. It used to be based on your actual taps, but because of the tappers, they stopped counting the taps as much. So the taps no longer get you out to the FYP or anything like that. So it's mostly the thing that gets you on the FYP now, based on what they told me, is the actual heart me's. And then it goes based on how active the chat is, and then from there it goes based on the gifts and then the taps. It's no longer about the taps, like it used to be. Taps are still important, but they're not as important as they used to be. So anyway, essentially the way it works is, as the network creator manager, or whatever you want to call it, they would reach out to me. I would have, the most important thing now is the heart me's, the daily heart me's. It goes the daily heart me's, the chat, how active the chat is, the gifts, and then the taps. The taps are last. It used to be taps first. So the Daily Heart Me is right above up here somewhere. It's like the little gold heart looking thing. If you click it, and if you click it, it'll ask you to do the Daily Heart Me or whatever. Sarah, when you actually do the Daily Heart Me, it actually sends a diamond. That's what the diamond is. It's just one coin essentially, in the shape of a diamond. But anyway, so hopefully that answered your question, Melissa. The Daily Heart Me is the little heart that goes above your head, like Ashley just sent a second ago, but it's somewhere up here. So anyway, that's the way the new TikTok algorithm works. Is it goes Daily Heart Me, how active your chat is, how many gifts you get, and then the taps are now at the bottom versus yes. The Daily Heart Me cost 1 coin. And that's why it used to be the taps, which were free. But because of the tappers and stuff like that, they found out people were kind of cheating the system. If you've got 3,000 people, watching you at one time, and they all have a tapper, you can get 3, 4, or 5 million taps at one point or at one time. So they kind of had to make that less important. But anyway, so the way that this would work is if a Christian content creator wanted to join the group, they would apply, and once they actually apply, then it comes to me or whoever else is on the staff at the time, and then we use our judgment, discernment, prayer to approve, and then once we approve, then what that does is that allows them to network with other Christian content creators, allows them to get more in-depth statistics as far as how their live goes. It actually has a whole different system that you can look at. So we can just type random letters over and over to help with comment section. So I'm going to say I have no idea. All I know is she said that the chat being active is what it shows that you're actually active. Your engagement, it's your engagement, and that's what they're looking at, is how engaged your people are with watching you. So yes, I agree. Chats are always active. But I've been in some streams where there's literally nobody talking. And so it kind of, but anyway, I keep getting squirreled by the comments. So the way it would work is they would apply, and then once approved, they would get a network of new tools that shows them their engagement, how many likes, follows, etc. they got. It's more in depth than just what TikTok provides currently. It gives them a more in depth, compared to other Christian content creators, stuff like that. So what happens is then they can have a one-on-one with me or whoever, if they're new and they need advice on how to get followers, and things like that. And that's what I told her. I said, for me, it's about the community helping each other. It's not about them coming to me and me being like, well, you can do this to grow. No, like that's what we're all there for, is to help one another grow. And we're not going to fight with each other the object is to spread God's word, period. And we're not going to fight with each other over how many followers this person has, how many followers this person has. I like this person better. Whatever. You're free to watch whoever you want to watch. But it gives them the ability to support each other, go into each other's lives, send a daily heart me, whatever, get it out on the algorithm. It helps build them up. And then once they actually do that, then it progresses from there. So I was really, really had no idea like what I was going into. No idea. And so I prayed before. I was like, God, if this is your will, like, then let it happen. And I went in, and within 3 minutes, she told me that she had already made her decision. And I was like, this ain't good. And she told me, she said, I'm going to go ahead and approve you. I think you would be a great fit. I think that your vision is what we're looking for. And she goes, do you have any Christian content creators that you think would be interested in joining? And I said, well, I've got a few that I think would be willing to join. And I've already actually asked one of them, who's here tonight, if they would join. So I'm very appreciative, and I'm amazed at what God's doing. Like, God's opening doors that I never expected. And I had this prayer of like, what? Like, God, I know you're going to open the doors but for this new church. But like, financially, what are we going to do? And then God opens this door. And so essentially what would happen is all the money that is made from me doing this job would go directly into the church. I don't see a penny of it. It's set to go directly into the church fund and be used for the church expenses, for the food pantry, the clothing ministry, the church building that we need to get, everything. Like, I'm just so amazed at what God's doing and how God's opening the doors. And it's great to see how many people are here tonight. This is actually probably the most I've seen in a while. But, and yes, exactly, Benny. All in his timing. But that was something that I was struggling with was, hey, like, God had opened the door. Like, we've got everything done as far as the paperwork, for the church, everything. We're already registered with the IRS, the federal government, everything. And all we're waiting on is a building. And so we have a meeting for a building on March 6th, hopefully. And we'll see, we'll go from there. And then this happens. And like, I'm just extremely impressed, because I was thinking I'm gonna go into this meeting and she's gonna be like, you're not what I'm looking for. Like, we're not really interested in this. But she literally was like, this is exactly what we want. This is exactly what we need. And she was like, we need somebody to bring these Christian content creators together and network them together. And so, I will say, if you all have any Christian content creators that you would like to suggest, and they might be interested in joining this network, please feel free to send them to me, or have them reach out. The actual network should be fully operational after tomorrow. It was approved today. She said it takes 24 hours. And then I can start accepting and adding people in. But once we do, we'll be on a roll. And it's just, God's moving. I don't know what the plan is, what God plans on doing with it, but God is moving, and He's doing big things, and I'm just truly impressed, and I'm seeing it on like all aspects of people that I follow that are being blessed. I mean, Ryan, for example, he's here, and he's being blessed, and it's just great to see that, like, God's moving, and I can't wait to see where this goes and where this leads, but God gets all the glory. And I've told everybody from the get-go, I am absolutely not here to make money or for money or anything like that. As a matter of fact, 99.9% of the time, any gifts that I get here, I end up sending to another content creator, another Christian content creator, because I want to keep that going. And you guys bless me with these gifts, and then I end up blessing somebody else with those gifts. And so it's never been about money for me, and never will be. So any money that is made from this venture will go directly into the church. So yes, you did your daily heart. I truly appreciate it, Melissa. And thank you, Nana, for your daily heart me as well. But yes, I'm truly amazed at how quickly this went. Within 3 minutes of our call ending, I had an email from her confirming that it was approved. So she sent me, I'll read you what she said. She said, "Great chatting earlier. We're excited to bring you on board our team. Our team will review your application, and if any revisions are needed, the platform team will email you, and you'll be able to make the edits in Backstage, then resubmit. Otherwise, you have been approved, and you will be sent a standard agreement via DocuSign," which I have to sign in 2 different places. And then it says, "Upon signing and submitting, your application will then be fully approved, and we will loop you in with the boot camp team." So, again, I'm just truly impressed with how this played out. And it started with somebody referring me, and I have no idea who it was. So, but it's great. And I think it's going to be great for other people, because we can actually get the content creators together and helping each other and building each other up and loving on each other and then going out and ministering God's word together. And that's what it's about. It's not about who can do this and who can do that, um and I said it yesterday, like Ron, for example, he's good at praise and worship, and he loves doing praise and worship, and he does devotionals, but he can do things that I can't, and vice versa. I can do things that he probably can't, and it's Melissa can do things that I can't. Benny and Chuck can do things I can't. Everybody's going to reach people that I can't, and I'm going to reach people that they can't, and that's exactly, Ryan. It takes us all, and that's the whole purpose of this new group, is for us to be able to get out and reach everybody, because it's going to take us all. So, but yeah, I truly, truly appreciate it. And if you missed the Bible study, I went over the Canaanite woman. With that, I was really, really impressed, because I learned something new today. So the whole purpose of the Canaanite woman, she went to Jesus and asked for her daughter to be healed, and he told her no twice. And I was like, that's something that I did not know. I never knew that Jesus told anybody no, as far as like healing somebody. And it wasn't exactly how I took it. Like, I was taking it, he told her no because she was a Canaanite, and she was surrounded by Jews, and that was a very big thing at that point. But no, he was testing her faith to see how far she would go to get that healing. Yes, don't say yes, exactly. Yep, that's one quick way to get that one. Okay. Nope, wrong book. So it looks like some of you all want to do some trivia. I may have. I don't know. I think I was saying Canaanite woman. I'm not sure. Oh, well, okay, I did. So far, I've been lucky and have not been for that, but there's always a first time for everything. All right. Well, you were actually right, Melissa. I may have said it and didn't think about it. But anyway. All right. Let's see. We'll do this one. Do we want multiple choice, or do we want true or false? True or false? Okay. Daniela says true or false. All right. Let's go to this one. All right. Group 5. All right. True or false? David was the last king of Judah. True or false? Okay, so far everybody says false. The question was, David was the last king of Judah. True or false? The correct answer was false. Zedekiah was the last king. 2 Kings 25, 1 through 7. All right. Question number 2. Elisha's servant was Gehazi. True or false? Elisha's servant was Gehazi. True or false? These names. All right. So the correct answer is true. 2 Kings 4, 1 through 12. Question number 3. Elisha supplied a widow with large quantities of milk and honey. True or false? Okay. Question was, Elisha supplied a widow with large quantities of milk and honey. True or false? All right. The correct answer was false. He supplied oil. 2 Kings 4, 1 through 7. Question number 4. For lying, what did you say, honey? Yes, honey. Honey, it said milk and honey, but it was actually oil. Question number 4. For lying to the prophet Elisha, Gehazi was turned into a leper. True or false? All right. The question was, for lying to the prophet Elisha, Gehazi was turned into a leper. The correct answer is true. 2 Kings 5, 20 through 27. Question number 5. Elisha's servant had a vision of the hills filled with horses and chariots of fire. True or false? Hey, Barry, thanks for the follow. So the question was, Elisha's servant had a vision of the hills filled with horses and chariots of fire. True or false? All right. The question was, Elisha's servant had a vision of the hills filled with horses and chariots of fire. The correct answer is true. 2 Kings 6:17. Okay. Question number 6. Hazael murdered King Ben-Hadad. Ben-Hadad. True or false? Yes, Melissa, we're so glad you are here. If you hear the little yapper behind me, I'm sorry. Question number 6 was, Hazael murdered King Ben-Hadad. I can't pick up the Swiffer pup and do the trivia at the same time, actually. He's talking about the other word after Hazael. This is Swiffer pup. All right. So the correct answer to question number 6 was true. 2 Kings 8:7 through 15. Yeah, he needs a haircut, which is next week. But yes, you can barely see his eyeballs. But there's a story for that one. The reason he hasn't got his haircut in a while. So we have another puppy. She's not really a puppy anymore, but she decided to eat an article of clothing, which then got stuck in her intestine and cost $8,000 to get out. So, yeah. All right. Question number 7. The prophet Urijah was murdered for opposing King Jehoiakim. I don't even know if I said that name right, but King Jehoiakim. Valentina, yes, she's definitely okay. It costs a lot of money, but yeah, she's okay. She's doing good. She didn't learn her lesson. I will say that. She she still tries to eat sheets and blankets and stuff like that. You would think she would have learned, but no. So question number 7: the prophet Urijah was unalived for opposing King Jehoiakim. No, we actually had to take her to an emergency vet. That's why it cost so much. Her regular vet could not see her until it was on a Friday, and they couldn't see her until like that Monday, and there was no way she was going to make it over the weekend. So the answer to question number 7. Hello, Brandy. Good to see you. Is true. Jeremiah 26:20 through 23. Number 8. King Jehu ordered Jezebel's servants to toss her out the window. True or false? King Jehu ordered Jezebel's servants to toss her out the window. Y'all must really like this Bible trivia, because every time I do a live now, y'all are like, let's do Bible trivia. All right. The question was, King Jehu ordered Jezebel's servants to toss her out the window. If he didn't, he should have. That's funny. All right. The correct answer is true. 2 Kings 9:31 through 33. Number 9. After Jezebel's death, wild horses ate her body. True or false? All right. The question was, after Jezebel's death, wild horses ate her body. The correct answer is false. It was dogs. Number 10. David saw his neighbor bathing on the rooftop. Peeping Tom. True or false? David saw his neighbor bathing on a rooftop. Yeah, that's something I'll definitely have to do here soon, Melissa. We've actually been joining Ryan's. He does praise and worship music, so we've been joining his. I've actually asked him maybe one night to come on here and him do praise and worship, and then I do Bible trivia or a word or whatever. Yeah, and Brandy does praise and worship as well. If you want to post your times, Brandy, that way people know, that'd be great. Ron, I know you're still here. If you want to post your times as well for Melissa, that way she knows as well. So that way she can know who you are, because she don't know who you are. All right, so David saw his neighbor bathing on a rooftop. The correct answer is true. All right, question number 11. And I'm sure Ryan is currently typing his times, so I'll ask this Not slowly, but, and enough time for him to answer. So Nathan, a prophet, confronted King David about his sin of adultery. True or false? All right. The question was Nathan, a prophet, confronted King David about the sin of adultery. The correct answer is true. 2 Samuel 12, 1 through 15. And Melissa, just so you're aware, those are all in Central Time. So it's going to be 1 hour after that. So 10 p.m., 3 p.m., and 11 a.m. Speaking of which, Nana, I just saw that you apparently subscribed. It didn't pop up for me, but I appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, question number 12. Absalom was David and Bathsheba's second son. True or false? The question was Absalom was David and Bathsheba's second son. True or false? Names? Absalom was David and Bathsheba's second son. True or false? So the correct answer is false. Solomon was their second son. 2 Samuel 12:24. Can I spell what, Wayne? Yeah, Absalom. 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 All right. Number 13. God named Solomon Jedediah. Jedediah. True or false? God named Solomon Jedediah. All right. God named Solomon Jedediah. True or false? The correct answer is true. 2 Samuel 12:24 through 25. Question number 14. After unaliving his brother, Amnon, Absalom fled to Geshur for 3 years. True or false? All right. After unaliving his brother Amnon, Absalom fled to Geshur for 3 years. Right? I agree, Melissa. It's always the brothers. So, after unaliving his brother Amnon, Absalom fled to Geshur for 3 years. The correct answer is true. 2 Samuel 13:37 through 38. Question number 15. David's son Absalom was known for being an unattractive man. True or false? Thank you for the gifts, Brandy, and thank you for the bracelet joke. Depends on who you ask. All right. David's son Absalom was known for being an unattractive man. True or false? Have a good one, Brandy. Thanks for joining. The correct answer was false. He was handsome. 2 Samuel 14:25. Number 16. As David went up to the Mount of Olives, he was barefoot and wept. True or false? As David went up to the Mount of Olives, he was barefoot and wept. True or false? I mean, it's either all true or it's not. It's in the Bible, so. David's son Absalom was known for being. Oh, wrong question. As David went up the Mount of Olives, he was barefoot and wept. The correct answer was true. 2 Samuel 15:30. Welcome back, Ron. Number 17. Absalom was buried by Joab in the great pit in the forest. Absalom was buried by Joab in a great pit in the forest. No, Absalom was buried by Joab in a great pit in the forest. True or false? You know who we haven't heard from in a while? We haven't heard from Daniela. Where's she at? Your thoughts exactly. You only answer when you know. That's funny. All right. True or false? Absalom was buried by Joab in a great pit in the forest. True or false? All right. So far everybody said false. So, question was Absalom was buried by Joab in a great pit in the forest. The correct answer for number 17, it is true. 2 Samuel 18:14 through 17. So he was buried by Joab in a great pit. Um, all right. Yes. Yes. So, Melissa, I'll ask you. It was a true or false question. Let me find it again. According to the book that bears his name, Jonah was in the belly of a well for 3 days and 3 nights. True or false? So that's what got Daniela in trouble. She said true as well. And actually, the Bible says, what number was that? Number 8. It was false because according to Jonah 1:17, Jonah was in the belly of a great fish. A great fish. Didn't say a well. So at that point, Daniela was like, we were lied to our entire lives, and yeah. So we're not disagreeing that it was a well. We're definitely not disagreeing. But the question was, what does the Bible say? And it said, true or false, according to the book that bears his name, Jonah was in the belly of a well for 3 days and 3 nights. Jonah did not say a well. It said a big fish. So, and they may not have knew what a well was at that point, but, you know. For that one, it was... Jonah 1:17. Jonah 1:17. And I feel like you looked that up that night, Daniela, and it said a big fish or a great fish. I mean, that's true, Melissa. That is true. I mean, did you see the video of the whale swallowing the person the other day and then spitting them back out? Oh, you didn't see it, Melissa? Yeah, there's actually a video. You should look it up. Uh, he was kayaking or doing something out in the middle of the ocean, and a canoe or kayak or something, and a whale came up and grabbed him and went under and then spit him back out. He was fine. He was fine. But there was somebody actually recording it. All right. So question number 18. David was anointed king at Hebron. True or false? Must have tasted fishy. Oh boy, she's hungry. She's gonna get hungry in a minute. All right, question number 18 was David was anointed king at Hebron. True or false? That's because I was promised food trucks and there was no food trucks on that trail. So all right, so the question was David was anointed king at Hebron. The correct answer is true. 2 Samuel 2:4. Number 19. Saul's son Ishbosheth was made king over Israel by Abner. I have no idea if that's said correctly or not. Saul's son Ishbosheth was made king over Israel by Abner. True or false? Yeah, that's that. Yeah, that's Ishbosheth. Ishbosheth was made king over Israel by Abner. Yeah, probably correct. So the correct answer for that one is true. 2 Samuel 2:8-9. Number 20. King Saul's son, Ishbosheth, was also known as Titus. True or false? Ishbosheth. All right. King Saul's son, Ishbosheth, was also known as Titus. True or false? Benny's picking up pizza at the moment. All right, so the question is King Saul's son, Ishbosheth, was also known as Titus. True or false? Yeah, apparently I'm going to get Wendy's. All right. So question number 20 was King Saul's son, Ishbosheth, was also known as Titus. The correct answer is false. He was also known as Eshbal. 1 Chronicles 9:39. yeah, so those names are always hard to pronounce. Wonder what they would sound like in the Hawaiian pidgin. Yeah, that's correct. It's not an easy name, nickname, name, whatever. Um, but yeah. So anyway, um, I don't think. I think you came in late, Nana. So I don't know if you know, but I'll kind of do a quick recap before I hop off here. So I had a meeting with TikTok today, and it went very well. They approved me to become a network creator manager. Um, Essentially, it's kind of like an employment with TikTok, and I get the Christian content creators, uh, essentially all under one network, and allow them to network with each other and help build each other up, and kind of um, help each other gain followers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and help them, get promoted on TikTok and stuff like that. So, um, thank you for the gift, Ryan. You know it's going to come back to you. So, um, so anyway, um, essentially, it allows us to help build each other up and grow the network and grow Christian content creators, so that way they can go out and minister the word of God to other people. Um, some of the things with TikTok has kind of changed. The taps used to be the main kind of focus for everybody, but because of the TikTok tappers, um, they didn't think it was kind of fair, especially for people that have 4,000 followers, to have that many people tapping and all that stuff and be, ranked higher than somebody that's only got. Um, I told you, Chuck, it was only $2. um, with that being said, it's not useless, but I get their concept of, if you've got somebody that's got 3,000 people watching them at one time, and you've got somebody over here that's got 20, even if they had tappers, they're not going to be the same. So what they've focused it on now is, yeah, Chuck paid 12. I got it before he did and paid $2 from TikTok. I tried telling Chuck, but he didn't listen. um, so essentially, what they focus on now is, one, the daily heart me's. That's the most important thing now, is the daily heart me. Two is how active your chat is. If your chat is not active at all, then it doesn't really matter if you get gifts or not. It's not going to put you up in the FYP higher. They want to see engagement from your community. They want to see people talking and, responses and stuff like that. So essentially, the daily heart me, the chat, then it goes the gifts that you receive, and then after that is the taps. So that's where it's at. It's all kind of, with this new system, that's what it's going. That's where it's going with. So you need to figure out what to go live with. Do you mean like what software, or what do you mean? Or just, in general, like what you're going to talk about or whatever. I definitely get that. Yeah, God will lead you into what content He wants you to be and or what you to do. Um, I'm kind of in the mix of doing different things, trying to find my niche. You know what I'm saying? So far, the praise and worship and the Bible study or the Bible trivia is what's been the best for me. But Ryan over here, he does amazing with praise and worship. So he comes on and I watch him for praise and worship. Then I come over here and usually do my Bible study and then do the Bible trivia or whatever. So, yeah, I can't play a sad song on a banjo. But, and that's coming soon as well, Benny. So that's coming soon. That's a requirement. I'm just messing, but yeah, we're all here to support each other and build each other up, and I know Daniela wants to start doing some lives as well, so we're gonna have to get her to the following that she needs to be at. However, I know with if you're doing it from your phone, you do have to have 1,000 followers. If you're doing it from your computer, like what I'm doing right now, then you can go through streaming software like Streamlabs or Restream, and you actually don't need 1,000 followers at that point. You can apply through them, and usually it'll get approved or whatever. But you don't need a stream key for that. And that's what a lot of people have the misconception of. I need a stream key to stream through whatever. But you don't. The only time you would need a stream key is if you're streaming separately to TikTok versus whatever with a different software. Right now, I use Streamlabs, and I stream to Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok, and don't have a stream key for that. So it's the way it used to. You had to apply for a stream key, but these softwares like Streamlabs and Restream and all that have made it actually so simple. They do everything for you. So, but yeah. So, I know Sarah was talking about doing a live here soon. I don't know if she's going to do it tonight or not, but she said soon. Then Daniela, we need to get her built up so that way she can do a live stream. And I agree, Melissa. You got to wait for the Lord to lead you to do it. And like I've told you before, you have a way of keeping people like captivated and focused, and I think you'll do great. So, and I can't wait to see you doing it. And then yes, Troika wants to do it as well. So, well, I mean, Melissa, like, apparently I'm scary. And Kelly's scary, and Ryan's scary. I mean, everybody's going to be scary to somebody, so you can't please everybody. But there's going to be people that you're meant to reach that I'm not, and Kelly's not, and anybody else, So, but it is what it is. You'll get the people you're meant to get, and that's what matters. It doesn't matter if somebody comes in and says, "Oh, you scare me." But yes, we need to work on trying to get Daniela built up so that way she can do her live stream, and then anybody else that wants to live stream and get God's word out and stuff like that, we need to get them out as well and get them promoted. So, but that's essentially what I want to do with this TikTok thing, this TikTok agency, is build Christian creators up, get them followers they need, the support they need, and let them go. Let them do their thing. Let them minister God's word. So, all right, guys. Well, I truly appreciate all of you, and I appreciate all the people that gifted tonight. Like I said, I use all those gifts to usually give back to other people that need them. I bless other Christian content creators, and then this new system, this new TikTok agency, all that money will go directly into the church and helping, for a building and food pantry and stuff like that. It's all going into the church. I'm not taking any money from it. So, and yes, this has been a great time of fellowship. I truly hope that you all had fun with the Bible trivia. Thank you for sticking around and listening to the news that I had and listening to the Bible study, and I truly appreciate you all. And most of you all I know personally, but even if I don't, I love all of yous, and I appreciate all of you being here, and I hope to see you all on my next live. So, you all have a great night, and I love you all.